Kev G weather overview. Taking a look at the Storm Prediction Center. They have us in a slight risk for severe thunderstorms tomorrow. A marginal risk for severe thunderstorms across eastern Connecticut. That's a little bit less in the way of a risk. Slight risk is more significant. That means more coverage of storms. But looking at the latest forecast models, I'm beginning to doubt that we see a widespread thunderstorm everywhere. In fact, I think it's New York City north and east where you see into Connecticut and east of the Hudson River, not so much Long Island. But those are the areas I think that have the best shot. Now, everybody's fair game for a thunderstorm between 1 and 5 p.m. tomorrow, but there's going to be a lot of clouds around. And how this all plays out is very tricky, and I'm not all that confident in the slightest with the evolution of these storms tomorrow. So be on the lookout for storms, but don't be surprised if you see nada, zilch. Now, we take a look at the U.S. Drought Monitor. Now, this is a change from last time. Now, when we looked on the long-range discussion, it wasn't showing an area of moderate drought, the area in orange now that's showing up across eastern Massachusetts and into New Hampshire and into parts of Maine. It was not showing any type of abnormally dry conditions, the areas in yellow, for Nassau County or for east of the Hudson River. Now it is. So this area of drought is expanding a little bit. We got to keep an eye on this. And if we look at the Weather Prediction Center over the next 7 days, I think this is overdone. This is day 1 through 7 for the precipitation. It's showing areas around the tri-state area in blue, which is indicative of about an inch of rain over a 7-day period. But I'm not betting on that based on what I'm seeing off the models tomorrow. So if we take a look at the aforementioned NAM model, it wants to try to bring an area of thunderstorms from basically Illinois and Michigan, where they're firing up now. It wants to try to bring this area of thunderstorms into the tri-state area between about 1 and 5 p.m. tomorrow. Now, when you wake up tomorrow morning, you could be dealing with a scattered shower or a thunderstorm. And there will be leftover clouds from when the warm front moves through. But you can see on the NAM model, as we go through time, it takes the heaviest rain just north of the metro area and brings it into northern Connecticut and eastern Massachusetts. And then after that, we probably don't see anything in the way of activity tomorrow night. Into Sunday, I think that if anything does fire up, it's going to be west of the city. And I don't think it'll really make it towards the coast. Now, we're going to be stuck with very humid conditions. I think that'll be the story of the weekend with temperatures in the 80s and the humidity values coming up. Once that warm front moves through, the thunderstorms, if we do get any tomorrow afternoon, they're really not going to give us anything in the way of appreciable relief from the humidity. The humidity, as Lloyd Lindsay Young would say. And that's because we just don't have a change of air mass behind the front. But what is going to happen is that we will have a change of air mass starting on Monday as I get my bearings. Now, what happens is that we have an upper low, which is situated over the northeast, and it's very subtle. You can kind of make it out as we go through time. And what this is going to do is it's going to keep the very hot temperatures at bay. It's also going to keep them north of the tri-state area for the first half of the week. But I think as we get towards the 4th of July, that all changes. So as the time we go into next Saturday, Independence Day, that wind is going to be turning around to a more west-southwesterly direction. So I think that for the majority of next week, we're high and dry, and I think our temperatures are pretty reasonable, actually. So I thought that it would be a lot hotter next week than it's going to turn out to be. So let's take a look at how Sunday shapes up. Mid-80s and humid, with an inland thunderstorm a good possibility, but not really so much near the coast. Now we get into Monday. The temperatures stay kind of elevated, but we lose the humidity. The humidity starts to come down. Tuesday, much of the same, mid-80s, about where we should be this time of year. Wednesday, we're looking at maybe more clouds in the picture as that upper low starts to kind of meander about. But still, the Weather Service is showing around 85 and fairly pleasant with the humidity values. And finally, as we go into Thursday, much of the same with a bit of a sea breeze starting to infiltrate along the South Shore and even into the city, knocking back the temperatures just a little bit. So it's a tricky forecast all around. I think much of the time will be dry, and we'll have to see about the evolution of those thunderstorms tomorrow. But after tomorrow, I think our rain chances are going to be few and far between as we head into the first part of July.